The digestive system, a very important system in our body. I dare say the most important, I think. Now, humans and most other animals eat food. And humans, we have the grossest, most processed food you could ever imagine. The first part of the digestive system is our mouths. When we see, smell, or even imagine food, we often salivate. And when we take a bite of this food, the saliva mixes with the food and helps break it down alongside the teeth until it becomes what is called a bolus, which is a ball of chewed up food. The esophagus is about a 25 centimeter long muscular tube that pushes the food from your throat all the way down to your stomach, which you can sometimes feel when you swallow too big of a bite. It goes down slowly. It feels kind of weird. Once the bolus enters the stomach, which is an organ with very strong muscular walls, it is broken down by acid and powerful enzymes that turn it into chyme. C-H-Y-M-E. These powerful enzymes and acid help to get rid of any bacteria that might be in the bolus. Once the stomach is finished turning the bolus into chyme, it triggers a valve at the bottom of the stomach to be open. After leaving the stomach, the chyme enters a chamber called the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine, also known as the small bowel. The duodenum is a 6-meter long tube that's all coiled up in the abdomen. The duodenum plays a vital role in further breaking down the very acidic chyme. When entering the duodenum, the chyme is broken down by bile and pancreatic juices. The duodenum has tubes that are connected to other organs, most namely the liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas, which are all organs that play vital roles in the digestive system. The liver is a very versatile organ. It has over 500 functions that include making bile and filtering toxins. Bile is a liquid that helps break down fats and toxins that is filtered by the liver out of the body. Bile also helps lubricate your intestines, which help you from getting constipated. Without bile, the human body would not be able to absorb fats and certain vitamins, including the vitamins A, D, E, and K. The gallbladder stores the bile that the liver makes. When food is consumed, the gallbladder will release the bile into the duodenum, where it mixes with the pancreatic juices so that the food may be dissolved and it will move into the small intestine and be absorbed. The pancreas is a gland that makes digestive juices that help further digest fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. When bile breaks down fats into certain microscopic particles, the digestive enzymes from the pancreatic juices help further break it down so that it may be further digested by the small intestine. The pancreas also makes insulin, which breaks down sugars into energy and stores excess sugar as fat. There are also pancreatic hormones, which help regulate your blood sugars and tells your stomach when to release the chyme into the duodenum. After moving through the duodenum, the food then moves through the jejunum and the ileum parts of the small intestine. The jejunum and ileum parts of the small intestine are both mainly responsible for absorbing nutrients and water into the bloodstream. Around 90% of the absorption and digestion of nutrients takes place in the jejunum and ileum. The other 10% take place in the stomach and large intestine. Food usually spends around 4 hours in the small intestine. Once the small intestine is done absorbing all the nutrients it can, it moves on to the larger intestine, also known as the colon. The large intestine is a wide muscular tube about 7 to 10 centimeters in diameter and 1.5 meters in length. What's left of the food, or food waste, is moved through the large intestine, and the remaining water and nutrients that is left is absorbed and turned into the vitamins K, B1, B2, and B12. Squeezing the food waste of its last nutrients then turns that food waste into a stool, which is then stored in the sigmoid colon, which is the last part of the large intestine before it moves on to the rectum. It usually takes about 36 hours for your food waste to move through the large intestine. The rectum is what connects the large intestine to the anus. It is about 20 centimeters long. It's right there. When the stool or gas enters the rectum, it sends messages to your brain telling it that there's something in the rectum. In the rectum, muscles known as sphincters hold the stool in place until your brain says it's all right to release the stool into the anus. The anus is very important. It is what keeps the stool in place if we are not able to go to the washroom right away, and it has muscles to stop us from releasing the stool while we are sleeping. It is an embarrassment saver. That was the digestive system. Thank you for watching.
What about corn?
What?
You know corn?
You mean how does corn survive the whole process of digestion?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, corn kernels are seeds, and the shells of the kernels are made of cellulose. And cellulose molecules are very strong, and they make a sort of shield around the good stuff that we eat. But because humans have one stomach only, shells stay intact just because they're really strong.
What about you?
Me?
Yeah, you know you're gluten intolerant?
Okay, I have gluten intolerance, which is not the same thing as celiac disease. People who have celiac disease have a genetic autoimmune disorder, which makes them genetically susceptible to gluten. They can't go near it at all. They can't even use the same toaster as other people. If you are gluten intolerant or have celiac disease and you're still eating gluten, don't. Why are you doing that? You're just hurting yourself. You can give yourself long-term health risks, and it's not worth it. It hurts way too much. Celiac disease affects the mucosa, which is the lining of the small intestine, where there are these things called villi. They're finger-like projections that are really small. They absorb the nutrients. When you have celiac disease and eat gluten, the villi are inflamed, and it makes it really hard to absorb any nutrients from any of the other food you eat, including the gluten. Many symptoms of celiac disease include anemia, bloating, headaches, stomach problems, diarrhea, constipation, many things. Being gluten intolerant means that your body can't handle any form of the protein gluten. If gluten is consumed, your body fights it with inflammation, which can cause many digestive problems and non-digestive problems, like the other examples that I gave you already, and depression, and fatigue, and anxiety, and just many problems that are not fun. Anyways, that was the digestive system. I hope you learned something, and I hope you had fun. Thanks for watching.